Hey Podquisition listener, Conrad here, just letting you know that Steph sounds like she's calling in on a phone because she was calling in from a phone. She'll explain it, but I just wanted you to know that your ears are functioning according to whatever your normal is. Enjoy the show.
Hey, 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 time to put your metal to the test now. Hey, 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 don't you know you're messing with the best now?
I'm gonna start today because I've literally just received an email as we're starting recording the episode.
Uh-oh.
And I've received a spam email right this moment. Let me just read to you from this very official email I've received.
Is it very official?
It's very official. I'll tell you
Good.
how official it is when I get there.
Right.
Spoilers, very official. Roblox abuse claims. Take legal action against Roblox.
Oh.
If your child experienced inappropriate behavior on Roblox, you may qualify for legal help and compensation. Roblox was meant to be fun and secure, but online platforms can be misused by people who intend to manipulate or hurt kids, causing emotional trauma and leaving families confused. Legal support may be available for your family. And the link goes to legal.legal.legal.com.
Amazing.
Which
it's legit. That's three times the normal legal.
Right, I saw this, and the way it was formatted, I was like, there's no way this is a real thing. This is an attempt at scamming people who have been victims of Roblox abuse of their children.
That is fucked. That's scams on top of, let's scam the scammed.
Well,
Yeah.
Look, they've produced a child that is susceptible to scamming. There's a pretty good chance they are too. This is
There
a
is a
really good
chance.
filtering system they've come up with.
I mean, look, legal and legal have gotten me out of some trouble in the past. I don't want to disparage any of the legal brothers. All three of them are stand-up gents. But that does sound just a tiny bit dodgy. Just a little bit. Fucking hell. I mean, it says something about how bad Roblox is.
Right,
That
that's
we've
why I
now
wanted...
got the hangers on.
That's why I wanted to bring it up. I was like, it's so bad that, sending just an email into the ether might catch people, because enough people have kids that have been fucked over on Roblox.
Yeah. But of course, Roblox is still freely distributed, is still perfectly accessible, but mouthwashing is a problem. Let's delist that. Fuck me.
Well, here's something that will absolutely make you feel better, Steph. Here's another Roblox fact. Roblox turns 20 years old this year.
What?
Yeah.
No, it came out like a week ago. What the fuck? I've never touched Roblox. I've never...
I have
I don't
touched
think I've
it.
ever played it.
Look, I booted it up once because my sister has 3 children, and she wanted a rundown on what games are okay for her children and not. And I was very ready to tell her, do not fucking let your kids play Roblox. But I did boot it up to go, I should understand what it mechanically is, beyond just saying it is a child exploitation farm, keep them the fuck away. It is the most hastily thrown together user-generated content farm of the least engaging content I've ever seen online.
I mean, every bit, I've not looked at a lot of it, but whenever I've seen images, footage of Roblox, it looks like hot shit. It looks like actual garbage.
From looking 2 years ago on the front page of available recommended worlds, it basically was entirely full of, let's say you are 7 years old and you want GTA 5 and your mum won't buy you it because it's an 18 and you have no money to buy a copy anyway. The quote-unquote next best thing is that Roblox will offer you, hey, our game is completely free, and you can play Crime City Grand Theft Car City Vice 5. It looks like a bunch of Lego people running around, but it's definitely just as good as GTA 5, though. Come play that.
Yeah. a sad mockbuster approximation. Grim, fucking grim. I'm tired of. I'm tired in the here and now, and just in general of the world. I'm just done. I think I'm ready to go to sleep and wake me up when it's all over. Wake me up when it's at the end of that one version of the Army of Darkness ending where he took too many drops of the sleepy potion and then woke up.
Yeah.
He slept too long.
Yeah. The European release, I believe, had that ending.
Yeah. I want to have that Rip Van Winkle juice. I want to have the drops on it. Nom, 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 nom. And then when I step out and everything is reduced to rubble and ash, I can yell, I've slept just enough.
You know, it's funny that you should say that, because this is a perfect opportunity for me to say welcome to Podquisition. This is a podcast about video games. We play them sometimes.
Also, just to quickly explain to the listener, if like my audio quality is not going to be great.
I was going to put a thing at the front.
Oh, okay. Well, in case they've forgotten, I'm moving house. Can't get to the computer right now. I'm in a lovely place, but currently surrounded by shite and cardboard boxes. But we do talk about games.
We do, and I'm just going to launch right in.
Yeah,
because
please.
You mentioned Evil Dead.
I did.
And I played Evil Dead Regeneration this week, which I maintain is the best Evil Dead experience you can have in video games today.
Is that the one with the little Deadite?
Played by Ted Raimi.
And
named after Sam. Yep.
Yeah, I've played that one. Quality fun.
It really is. Like, I started playing it, and I'm in the first, like, 2 sections, like, in the area before you get Sam to come along with you. And I was like, oh, this is grim. Like, this feels really bad. Like, it's just dull combat. Like, really kind of basic combos, kind of sluggish. It did help that once I like adjusted the emulation settings for the upscaling. It actually looks pretty good scaled up into 1080p. But it is a drag. But then once you get Sam with you and his abilities become valuable and they sort of parcel them out, and it's still not like the best paced game, but it is the most budget PS2 era game I can think of. Like, it just, if you wanted a benchmark of quality for what a mid-tier PlayStation 2 game was, again, 20 years ago, that bitter pill, it's there. And it's such an Evil Dead thing. It has all of the humor, like, the slapstick. It is probably a better direct sequel to Evil Dead 2 than Army of Darkness is, in terms of, like, maintaining the comedic tone. It's just that the plot gets ridiculous and goofy and stupid is all. That's the only thing that feels tonally weird about it, is that it doesn't have the kind of grounding that you would see in Army of Darkness, as ridiculous as that sounds to say out loud.
Yeah.
But Army of Darkness does feel like a more grounded thing than this. This feels more like kind of the stuff they would do in the comic books, or, you know, later Ash vs. Evil Dead. That tone, it feels more appropriate. It's that, but it's an alternate timeline. It picks up where Evil Dead 2 ends. Even starts you in the cabin, does the laughing sequence, like it does the fan service right at the gate, and smartly, because that combat's so bad in the first, like, 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And especially looking back on it, it would have been so easy to just put it down. And I'm glad I didn't. It is still the best Evil Dead game. Because that multiplayer one that I never actually played, I can feel safe saying it is a less good experience because nobody can play it anymore.
Yeah, there is that.
Yeah.
I don't remember a great deal about Regeneration. I have played through it, but that would have been closer to 20 years ago. But I do remember it having that similar trajectory of it starting off pretty fucking weak, but by the time I was done, I was very pleased I played it. And yeah, compared to, I did play the multiplayer one and it wasn't brilliant, wasn't particularly good. And that other Evil Dead PS2 game, which I played last year, I want to say.
Fistful of Boomstick.
Fistful of Boomstick. And that one's pretty, it's not very good.
It's better than the one before it on the PlayStation, which is a pretty close, I think it's a almost one-to-one retelling of Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness. Does the cabin, does Candor. It and it does it in like a survival horror mode as opposed to a third-person action. Do not play it. Like, no. I mean, unless you want a bad time. If you want to have a bad time, then yeah, play Evil Dead Hail to the King. I think I still have my PlayStation discs. Like, I'll mail them to you. That's how little I care about this game. It's.
I mean, I've got my Odin. I can emulate it. I'm. Oh God, you've got me curious now. You said like survival horror retelling both of those films.
It's not good.
I mean, price of free.
Yeah, I mean, hey, have the experience. Come back and tell me what you think next week. But
yeah. I'll try and find time to fit that in, yeah.
Yeah. The thing I remember most about it was the loading times, which will probably be a lot better emulated. But yeah. Miserable game. But yeah, Evil Dead Regeneration is good and emulates well, and you could also probably find a disc of it for $5 somewhere because nobody remembers this 20-year-old action platformer that is quite good at the end of the day. But that's Evil Dead. What about you two? What have you played?
I've got one I can knock out quick. I played an hour and a half of Powerwash Simulator 2. That's coming out later this year.
I'm psyched.
Yeah, gotta go hands on with a preview for that, and I'll get the spoiler out of the way. It's more Powerwash Simulator. If you enjoyed the first one, this is more of that. I can tell you a bit about some of the new specific things they've added. They've added a lot of new ways to get higher or lower in a level. For convenience, they have things like scissor lifts that you can set to specific heights. They've got abseiling now. So if you've got like a big billboard and you're trying to get to like the center of the billboard, you can set up a chair on some strings and like lower yourself down to reach areas that might otherwise be a bit fiddly or would require like go up a ladder, clean a bit, go down, move the ladder, get up, clean a bit. Nice quality of life change. Scaffolds now have a ladder up the side, so if you're like me and you get motion sick by spinning around in circles, running up the insides of the scaffold, you can just climb up the side. That's good. Here are like the actual important things that have changed. There is levels now that sort of reveal themselves in stages, which is kind of interesting. An example of this is there's one that it ultimately turns out the job was clean the roof and the exterior and the interior of a public toilet cubicle. Terrifying prospect. But initially when you arrive, it's only the roof of the building on the floor, so it's really easy to clean the top of it. And then the rest of the building, like, comes up out from the ground, so now you're just cleaning the walls, they're nice and accessible. Then the door opens and you're like, oh god, I didn't realize I was going to have to go in there. It stops it being quite so overwhelming to do it all at once. It kind of reveals the task in stages. Biggest quality of life change they have made is that there is now a dedicated button to make dirt that still hasn't been cleaned flash up in bright, very easy to see colours that glow. So if you're like, I can't work out what bit you still need me to clean, just make it glow garishly so I can see what little bits I need to finish up. And they have a new tool. And the new tool is probably the most important thing they've added. It is a surface cleaner. It is a big, large area of effect circle with a spinning brush inside it, that as long as you are doing something like flat without obstructions, like the floor or a wall, big area of effect cleaner. it means that, like, the big swathes of floor that might be in a level can be very quickly buffed through, and you're using tools that are designed for, like, detailing to actually be cleaning details. It's not the best for getting rid of, like, really stubborn stuff, but it will do the legwork in a way that feels respectful of your time, so that the stuff you're doing with, like, the actual power washer is stuff that feels like it justifies using a power washer for it. That all said, it's Powerwash Simulator. Did you enjoy methodically cleaning things? Here's
did.
new things to methodically clean.
Perfect.
Yeah, it is exactly what it needed to be, with just enough little quality of life things to go, cool. Things that could have been frustrations are going to be less frustrating, and I have new stuff to clean.
Great.
Right?
I would have been happy if they'd just continued to release DLC things to clean until the sun burnt out. But
Yeah. This is, here is more stuff to clean, and yes, we're charging you again, but also, like, there's a couple of things that'll make it less of a hassle. A couple of little extra tools to help you get on your way. Off you go. Really nothing else to say about it. It's more Powerwash Sim. I will have a great time when that comes out, I am sure. What about you, Steph? What have you been playing this week? If anything.
So I have actually managed to get some game stuff here and there, because there's been a lot of waiting around for some stuff, as well as the hectic bits. So I've actually got quite a few things I can talk about. The first one I'll talk about is a game demo that came out yesterday. I think it was yesterday or the day before. It came out with that Nintendo Direct. The Adventures of Elliot.
Oh, the HD 2D Zelda-like thing.
Yes.
Yes.
Done by the Octopath Traveler folks. Zelda-style game with the art style of, Octopath, the things they do.
Yeah.
I want to like it. I want to like it. It's got some charm to it. The gameplay is not particularly standout, but for the most part, it's solid. The main issue is anything with range. I've just struggled to hit anything with arrows and like shockwaves off of a charged sword attack, stuff like that. I've just found it hard to gauge directions with sort of the camera perspective, and I feel like some sort of either lock-on or manual proper targeting system, rather than just point yourself in the direction of an enemy and press a button and hope for the best, would be better. I like the whole little. I always like generally like this in a game. The more enemies you kill without taking damage, you get loot multiplier. The enemy designs are really cool. The frog enemies you get in the latter half of the demo are really fun, attacking you with various musical instruments. It's perfectly twee. I'm all about that. The other thing about the game is, why won't it shut the fuck up? Why won't the fairy shut the fuck up? It won't stop talking. It goes on and on. The moment they introduced a fairy, I was like, oh no. It
does feel a little like they learnt all of the wrong lessons from Navi in the Zelda games. They're like, oh, people think fondly on Navi as a companion character in a Zelda-like. But like back then they couldn't afford more than the one voice line. So like we should have, we should expand on Navi. Everyone's favourite part of that game.
What if it, with that annoying fairy voice that all these fucking games have, what if we had it do running commentary on everything you do, like a Code Vein NPC? She is worse, I think, than a Code Vein character, because she's just as chatty, if not more so, and has that annoying fucking fairy voice. And I don't even need to describe it beyond that because we all know what a video game fairy fucking sounds like. And she's a particularly grating one. And she never fucking stops. You're in some tall grass, she has to comment on it. You pick up a key, she has to comment on it. You press a switch, she'll say, "Oh, I wonder if something changed up ahead." I'm like, "It's a fucking switch, you bitch. That's its one purpose, is to change shit up ahead." You pick up a bit of magicite shit, which makes special abilities, and she's like, "Oh, I wonder if we can get some abilities out of that." And I'm like, "It's its one job, you fucking thing." Fucking, she will tell you if there's a treasure chest on screen in front of you. She will comment if you've seen a treasure chest. You'll open the treasure chest and she'll comment about what's inside it. Sometimes you won't be doing anything and she'll just run her fucking mouth. It's possibly the worst NPC chatter I've ever. This is just a demo. This isn't the full game. And by the latter half of it, I was yelling, "Shut the fuck up" at the screen. I was genuinely like knee-jerk yelling at it to shut up. That's just the demo. I don't think a character has put me off a game more than this. That demo has made me not want that game because I can't stand the sound of it.
Hey,
And
I have an exciting update for you, Steph.
Yeah?
Square Enix, alongside this demo, put out a survey, explicitly asking for people's feedback on the demo and things they like and don't like about it, with plenty of space to write in your own specific feedback. They have a question in there reportedly about what you think of the fairy companion. I have sent you a link to a Reddit post where you can find the survey, so that you can literally tell Square Enix you don't like the fairy and you would like an option to turn off their dialogue or whatever.
It reminds me of that Limmy sketch, the Kill Jester. Listeners, if you don't know that, there's a sketch comedian called Limmy over in the UK. He's got this one sketch, which is a series of almost like D&D style quests, but the gimmick is it's one of those late night call-in shows. So people will call in and he'll be on screen like in cosplay, telling them an adventure, and they can choose things to do. And they introduce a wacky jester character, and the guy on the phone is just constantly saying "kill jester." Like just commanding that's what he wants to do in the game. And it's like that. Like it's genuinely, I want to pull that fairy's wings off, and while it's crawling on the floor, I want to stamp on its head. And I think that's a measured, reasonable response.
And
I really hope.
And you have the option to directly tell Square Enix that you feel that way.
Absolutely gonna, because genuinely, I've never been more put off by a demo, I don't think. Certainly a game that's otherwise good. I've never had one element of a demo put me off this much. And I looked in the options, because, sometimes games have that thing. It's like, make the fairy shut up more. And there's nothing in there. And I really don't agree that it's a sufficient thing to change the language settings. I shouldn't have to do that. So I'm gonna fill that survey out, definitely. Yeah. And I hope I'm not alone. Certainly I made a comment about just fairy voices in general on Blue Sky, and immediately had people replying with, "This is about that fucking Elliot game, innit?" So something I'm far from alone, and my hope is they cut it down. Who in the game industry is deciding this is good? Who keeps deciding that we should have squeaky voiced characters talk incessantly? I'm not talking about me. Who decides that that's the thing? Why? I don't know why the game industry, why development sensibilities are so obsessed with making fairies talk a lot. Stop it. from one talkative fairy to another. Fucking stop it.
Is this the secret? The frustration is mostly because you're like, nah, you're stealing my shtick.
I'm not. I'm better than that. I'm. It. Shut up.
Oh no.
It's. I want to play the full thing if they change it. If they decide that's acceptable. I've never yelled at a game so quickly. And it started making me hate other shit about it. Like, I ended up getting more annoyed at other things in the game because that thing had aggravated me so much. It
put you in the headspace to nitpick them.
Yeah. If I get a key, yes, you little moron, it will probably open a door. Let's not wonder aloud if it will do. For fuck's sake. Anyway, that's.
What about you, Conrad? What have you been playing this week?
Well, I played a board game that I'm really, really enjoying called Heat. It's got some subtitle I can't remember now, but it's a racing game. It's a Formula One racing game, and
this is the one that's very similar to the Tour de France one.
Well, that was
about,
I had asked you previously if you had been familiar with this game because I thought you had been describing it, but it was the other Tour de France game. And
mechanically basically identical.
Well, yeah, it seems pretty similar. I can't remember enough of the details about the game you were playing, but the way this one functions is every player has a deck of cards assigned to them, and the deck consists of a collection of numbered cards that indicate the number of spaces that you move when the card is played. And it has a few other cards that are called stress cards that they function like it's like a wild card, basically. When you play that card, you're going to draw from your deck until you get a movement card, and then that's how much you move when that card is played. And then a third type of card called Heat that isn't played from your hand. Except in a certain circumstance, and it gets played to your engine, and heat cards are played out of your engine into your discard pile, where they'll wind up back in your hand and filling up space, so you have fewer options as things progress.
I'm guessing they're shit movement cards that you ideally don't want to be drawing.
They're no movement. They are
they're no movement.
They are literally like your engine has built up so much heat that you don't have as much controller options in terms of how you're going to drive. That's how that mechanically represents it. And so at the start of every turn, you can shift gear up or down, and that determines how many cards you can play on that turn.
Interesting.
And so then everybody plays out their cards, and the first person who's in first moves first and makes their movement. And what's tricky about it are the corners. At corners, there are numbers to indicate how fast you can conceivably go through the corner without spinning out. And so when you move past a corner, you compare the total movement that you did on that turn with the number on there, and you have to pay the heat cards from your engine for anything in excess of that. Causing you to possibly spin out, stall, move back to first gear, lose a turn. Like, there's real consequences for spinning out. And so it becomes a matter of balancing, staying in lower gears in order to cool down your engine and make those turns easier to go, while also making sure that when you hit the straightaways, you can be up in fourth gear and really let that engine out to fly through, and then get back down again before you hit the next corner. It's really cool. The limited deck makes it a really strategic element, particularly if you're a card counter. Like, it makes
Yeah.
a world of difference, because now you're thinking, all right, well, I know I have been playing in such a way that all of my low-numbered cards are in the discard pile now, or in my hand, and I only have high-value cards. So when I open up, I can play those stress cards that are also occupying space in my hand, in a sense, because I don't want to play them not knowing what they do before I hit a corner. But now that I'm about to open up, I lay those out, and it doesn't matter what's coming down the pipe. Chances are they're higher value cards because I know what's in the deck later. And it's just keeping track of what's there, knowing when to play things. It's so cool. And those are just the base rules. There are advanced rules with weather conditions and all sorts of other like elements. There's you can modify your car. The base game, you start with 3, they're called upgrade cards. They basically consist of a 5 move, a 0 move, and a heat card. But you can toss those and build from another deck to make everybody's car different. And it even has AI rules so that you can have multiple, cars in there. You can play it alone, or you can, playing with my wife, it was fun. But I got out ahead of her at one point in our second game, and there was she was not going to catch up. And it was not, that diminished how interesting the game was, because there are things like you can slipstream past opponents if you manage to line up next to them and get free movement. And there's all of these little strategies that are super cool that really necessitate more players in the game. It's still fun in 2-player, but then adding more makes it even more fun, and it provides a means to do that easily, even if you don't have other people to play with. It's a great package. I really would encourage people who are into strategic board games to check out Heat. I'm sure it's on Tabletop Simulator to poke around at for your first go, because it's a $75 game.
Yeah.
But wow, fun. Loving it.
I'm glad you've been enjoying it. Listening to you talk about it, Flamme Rouge is the Tour de France one that I've been playing. I can see the similarities. It's different enough, I think, to justify being a separate game. It has a similar mechanic of you have decks of cards, you're drawing hands to see how much you're going to be moving. One difference that even in a 2-player game means that there are more units on the board to get you things like slipstreaming going on, is that every player is controlling 2 cyclists on their team rather than just like the one car. You've got a sprinter who is designed for either very, very short movement turns or very big movement turns, and like they're the one that's probably going to be doing the mad dash over the finish line at the end. And the rouleur, which is like your pacemaking unit, that has much more consistent numbers across the board. And you ideally want them going up front, because whoever is at the front of the pack at all times, that has no one directly in front of them, takes exhaustion, which is your sort of heat equivalent, which here is cards that get added to your deck that are incredibly small movement cards. So you want to be avoiding being the front of the pack, not only because you get that free slipstreaming, but also because you don't want to be getting exhaustion, because then you will be struggling to keep at that sort of just healthy enough that you can make those big dashes when you need to. And it's equivalent of the cornering mechanic, as you have uphills and downhills that will mandate the maximum or minimum distance you could move in a turn. So if you start your turn on an uphill, no matter what size card you play, you can't go more than, I think, 3 squares. So you want to stop your movement the turn before the hill, like landing just before the hill, and do one big sprint so that, like, you never start your turn on the hill.
Right.
And then when you're going down the hill, you can throw away all your shit exhaustion cards, because you're guaranteed at least 5 movement going down the hill.
Yeah, this addresses that sort of rubber banding element from the rear as opposed to from the front. So in this, whoever moves last either gets 1 free movement, or they get 1 free cooldown. And the cooldown is, I didn't get into all of the details, but heat can be spent on your turn to boost an additional movement card. It can, so there are other ways to expend that resource and get value out of it. It's not merely like a defensive reaction.
Yeah.
And balancing that can be a huge, huge deal. And being able to just drop cooldown cards from your hand every turn for free without having to drop to a lower gear can give you the advantage for boosting into straightaways that you wouldn't have had and catch up quickly.
As opposed to here, where it's you are actively disincentivized to spend the whole race in first, so you're unlikely to get someone running away from the pack, because what perfect position is in second place by a single square for the whole race. So, like, if you are in first, you are trying to drop back just that little amount so that you can still be, like, within one square's distance, so when it's time to make that big sprint, you are, like, you're trying to stay in second, and then do the maths to go, I have enough high-value cards still left in my deck from the card counting, that I start making that sprint just before the other player, and get out in front of them just before they have a chance to make it up. Which sort of inherently disincentivizes getting too far ahead too early, because it's just going to exhaust you, and you're going to be like, I'm on the final sprint and I have all twos in my hand because I got so much exhaustion earlier. So yeah, both different spins, but like looking at the board for Heat, I'm like, oh, this is the same game. And it's I'm glad to see another twist on what I think is a really solid core set of mechanics. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
It's good. I enjoyed it. Heat Pedal to the Metal is the full name. So yeah, if people are interested. What about you, Laura?
So I've been pretending to be on a fictional spaceship some more. I went and did another Bridge Command mission, because fuck it, why not? Go support businesses that you would like to not vanish away, because they are niche businesses. Fun fact about that conversation we had about the economics of that business. I was reading an article. It was opened by a former investment banker with a shit ton of personal money he is sat on, who is just a big fucking Star Trek nerd, who has actively said in interviews, he's like, I know this place probably isn't going to be profitable, but I am happy to sit on the financial cost that is, because I want a Star Trek thing to be real. And I'm like, well, that'll help. Having someone who has money to throw at, I want my passion project to exist here.
There is part of me that's like, that's wonderful. I'm glad. And then there's the other part of me that's like, okay, but you've been sitting on all of this capital, and you could have, like, I don't know, started a non-profit to feed people, or...
You could have, like, helped usher in the utopian society that would allow Star Trek to happen, but instead you're like, I'm gonna throw my money at, here's a place where people can play Star Trek. And, you know, that is true, but look, part of me does go...
No, I mean, it is what it is. It's too late. The thing exists.
Yeah, the thing exists, and I'm gonna be honest, there are worse things that I've seen billionaires pour their money into.
Absolutely.
I'll take one who is willing to take a loss so that people can pretend to be in space. That'll work for me. But yeah, I went and did another mission. This time it was a diplomacy mission. The basic gist of our mission we went on was, there is a faction called the Cult of Torment. They worship the Void. They do not negotiate. They see someone they don't like, they will murder on sight kind of people, which is a tricky group to have a diplomacy mission with when up front you are told they do not negotiate. And we had to go pick up a defector from the cult, get some information, and try and strike a blow to this cult before they could call in reinforcements, and see if we could find someone sympathetic within the cult that we could maybe do negotiations with. The big thing that was different about this one is that there was... We went and interacted with this other ship, and then had, like, someone board our ship, and we had an actor come on board the ship playing a character who, interestingly... they say the rule of improv is you yes and. This was an actor who was explicitly sent in to not yes and our improv, to be deliberately tricky for us to negotiate with, to be a diplomatic challenge, which meant things like we had a slight technical issue on one person's desk during the attempted pickup of this person. which slightly delayed collecting them from their ship. No problem caused by any person on the crew, but they were like, took you long enough to get me boarded. I was like, oh, we were having a slight technical issue, we've got you on board now. To which you responded, your ship's having technical issues. Can you guarantee that you're going to be able to keep me safe? Is your ship falling apart? I'm like, oh no. You're going to use shit that we can't control against us and have to make us do difficult conversations. But I appreciated it was the right amount of deliberate, playful pushback. It was, my job here is to be something to be overcome, rather than to make it easy for you to get through this social interaction. It also involved, we played with a full team of 14, which meant that we had a separate shuttle, and a dedicated shuttle crew. So we ended up running as like 2 teams with a first officer on the radio who was like, every time we got into combat, they would run off and go get into a separate small, like, 4-person ship, and we could see them on our radars, and we would fight in, like, pincer movements and things. And that was really cool, having this, 2 separate teams that would come back together, and when we weren't in combat, they would be around to, like, help decipher clues and things, and then run off to their separate station, and they would come in over the radio when they were controlling their separate ship, so it really did feel like they'd gone and flown off in a separate vessel. I still maintain that British Command is really fun, and I'm very glad it exists as an affordable go have a fun day out activity. I've also been playing around more with Empty Epsilon, which is the open source simulator that this is built on, and it is surprisingly easy to set up LAN multiplayer in Empty Epsilon. Me and Jane did a couple of missions running a ship with just 2 of us. We found that there is a series of controls for if you're running a smaller crew like we were of like 2 people, you can basically smush several screens of controls onto one screen, and it's going to be a little chaotic, but you can feasibly control multiple things at once. And we got like a good hour and a half into a mission. We got destroyed during the finale of it, but yeah, for an open source piece of software, it is surprisingly robust. So yeah, I'm continuing to have fun adventures in space. What about you, Steph? What have you been playing this week?
Well, you talk of your sci-fi, you talk of your futuristic scenarios, and it got me thinking, and it got me pondering, and it's gotten me asking a question. And the question is this, it's, what if robots was people? Hi, I'm
What if
David
robots
Cage.
was people?
I'm David Cage. Welcome to my TED Talk. I wasn't invited. I'm stood outside the building. I played Detroit.
Did you become human?
I became a human, thank you very much. I am a human being now. A real life girl. Fucking hell.
They're not going to
Right.
make you go on the back of the bus now. Oh.
Right. Well, let's ignore all of the civil rights imagery that's in the game, because Page wasn't really trying to make any statements. What an example of having your cake and fucking it. I didn't know that he did that. I didn't know he did the Ubisoft thing of, it's not, he didn't say it's not political, but I didn't know there were like headlines and interviews and shit of him being all like, well, we're not really making this about any particular thing.
In the first fucking half hour, he makes the black man ride in the back of the bus.
Yeah. At one point, that same character says he had a dream.
Yeah.
There is a character with another black character who explains that she's helping the androids because of what her people went through. It's like, mate, you cannot step away from the political imagery on this. How dare you? I didn't play a great deal of it when it came out. I really didn't like it and just was like, I'm not finishing this shit. I've played every other one of this man's games to completion, and I shouldn't say this man's, it's a whole team of people equally as pretentious as him. And I sat through Beyond Two Souls, and I wasn't going to do that to myself again. But I don't know, I don't know what made me pick it up again. I had been watching a YouTube video about it. I can't even remember what it was because it was just on in the background. But it got me just thinking, I want to give it another go. And I would put it above Beyond Two Souls, because that game was the fucking pits. I will never play that one again. There are moments in Detroit where I was sort of into it. They were brief moments because I'd always get taken out of it by something fucking stupid. In terms of character development, it's one of the better ones. It's got characters I like. I actually like all three of the playable characters. I like Marcus. I like Connor. I like Kara. They're very well performed. Their stories are sympathetic and interesting. Connor's story, not just because he's playing opposite Clancy Brown, who is always a treasure. I love Clancy Brown. But his story is very interesting to me.
Their chemistry is great. They play off each other really well.
I did see clips in that YouTube video I was watching. I'm sorry, I can't remember the actual name of it, but there was a lot of improv between them. That David Cage was, ironically, for a game about breaking your constraints and being free, he didn't like the deviations.
I'm shocked.
I mean, to give some defense, I imagine the spider web of choices that you have to write for a game like this being a little bit fucking antsy about going too far.
I understand like the technical, but it is such a. But his personality is such that I absolutely feel like that would be infuriating to him. One of those film directors who just, and there's nothing wrong with being this way.
I did not approve these emotions.
Right? Nothing wrong with having a vision, and if you're in that position where you're dictating what the vision is and you have art you're wanting to create, I understand wanting it being a certain way. I think it's not fun for people. I think you can do that other ways, like let them have their fun cuts and then just keep the one that you want, but whatever. Time is money.
Some of it did end up in. There's a bit where Connor winks at Clancy and this sort of little humanizing moment, and that made it in. But yeah, you can really tell that out of everyone involved, that they were really enjoying themselves. Like, I can tell Clancy was fucking eating it up. The game is full of, even by Quantic Dream standards, moments of pure, like, how the fuck did this happen? How did he get that? Why can he suddenly do this now? Like, just situations and tools that he could get hold of, and powers that characters have, and just all these abilities and things that just appear as the plot needs them with no explanation. And I don't mind a little bit of that sometimes, but it's a lot and all over the place, and like so absurd as to be like really quite remarkable. There is a twist that is not as bad as Heavy Rain in terms of the game lying to you, but it does stretch credulity.
Yeah. I think I know the one you're getting at.
Yeah. It stretches absolute credulity.
The idea that at no point would it have been noticed that it was the case requires some willful ignorance.
Yeah. And the attempts to hand wave it away just don't work. Heavy Rain was more offensive just because they actually put you in the mind of the character that the twist was about, and he was thinking different to how he would think if he was the character he was revealed to be. That game was straight up dishonest. This one, it's lying by omission a lot of the time, and it's just amateur. It's hack grade shit. And there are other moments of just pure where I'm just cringing. There's a scene with a guy who is doing to the androids what Sid in Toy Story does to his toys, like making mutants and stuff out of them. And they actually said, he's making us monsters. But who is the real monster? I'm like, don't say who is the real monster.
Yeah, but Steph, have you considered which one is the real monster, though?
They
are implying it might be the human and not the monster.
The only real monsters I were on Nickelodeon in the 90s. They're the only media that's allowed to say it.
Steph, are you having emotions?
I had some when I saw that. I had a couple of emotions. And there's moments of that, just pure cornball shit that is awkward, where it's like Quantic Dreams never believed in just letting the audience enjoy it. That it's got to sit you down and like peel your eyelids open and tell you how clever it is. And it's never been clever enough to justify it, for one thing, let alone like just try and make you appreciate it. It's like it doesn't let you appreciate it, it tries to make you. And shit like I who's the real monster and shit like that, it's so lacking in self-awareness to such an amazing degree. I've not all the way finished it. I've gotten very like deep into it. I am curious about playing it again because David Cage specifically said only ever play it once. Oh, you should only ever play it once and never again. And I suspect that's because the choices don't matter as much as we believe they do.
I would say this is one of the ones where you do have more ability to branch. And the way I would put it is, because he's not trying to tell one linear story that has to have its one end point, it feels like each of the three branches has a little more room to go a little more off the rails, because it's not trying to pull back to meet the other 2/3 of the plot.
Yeah.
And I do think there is a higher variety or density of unique scenes that can be seen, but there will still be a lot of repetition to see that.
Yeah, I did see some examples in that video of like this characters reacting the same without the character development that would get them there. Where there are branches that would give them that character development and branches that don't, but the reaction is the same. And I'm sure there's plenty of bits like that.
There's some that I do think are interesting, like particularly like I'll say the pair of detectives. That, as someone who put a lot of effort into really building them into a close pair, I did very genuinely enjoy playing in a way where I deliberately kind of fucked up their relationship, and seeing them spiral quite dramatically was very interesting to see. Particularly if you have Android Detective die during like the first 2 or 3 things he sent out to do. It really does shift that relationship in a very different direction.
I did have him die in one bit because I'm pulling for one of the other characters at that moment. And I can see moments where there would be some bigger changes for sure. I do have a feeling that kind of the violent revolution I'm now part of, I do feel like certainly the game's done enough of a job to convince me that it could have played out differently. Although, again, because the game won't just let you appreciate it, that flowchart you get at the end of every chapter just screams of them like just trying to convince you of how clever it is. There are interesting bits about that, though. So yeah,
It's pretty transparent about like where we'll actually branch to new content and where we'll just sort of bring you back to where you were.
yeah, because it absolutely wants you to appreciate how brilliant it is.
Yeah.
Um, So yeah, like I probably now looking at it, I think at the time I always saw Quantic Dreams games as this steady decline, but I think I giving it time now. I'd probably put it above Heavy Rain and obviously beyond Two Souls, which is the pit. But I would put it beyond above Heavy Rain, and I've never played on Omicron or whatever.
It's a mess.
Yeah, I imagine so. But out of the ones I've played, nothing has topped Indigo Prophecy / Fahrenheit yet, which was the perfect mix of clever and fucking stupid. And last night I did start playing that as well. I did decide, you know what? I haven't wandered around this sad man's apartment while playing Theory of a Dead Man in a while. So I put on Theory of a Dead Man, Santa Monica, padded around that apartment in the Nubby. That game introduced me to Theory of a Dead Man, and about 20 years ago I used to listen to them a lot because of that game. Even though every single song is about a woman leaving the bloke, every single Theory of a Dead Man song is about that. And yeah, I'm enjoying the cheesy stupidity of Fahrenheit. It is delectably dumb. And I think I really did think that one was great at the time. That opening scene in the bathroom, like as you cover up for the murder and then investigate it as the other characters. I think it's the best thing I've seen from Quantic Dream. It's the first thing I ever saw from them, and I still think it's the best thing that I've seen from them. Yeah, I don't know if I'll finish, because I know there's a certain bit of Fahrenheit where I'm going to want to turn it off. It'll be that fucking back. But I have enjoyed like just the nostalgia, if nothing else, of playing Fahrenheit again. So yeah, that's me. I might end up giving Heavy Rain another try just to really ruin my week.
Did you play anything else, Comrade?
Nothing worth talking about. Oh, but I did want to note, I was reading, and it turns out that Flamme Rouge and Heat Pedal to the Metal, same designer.
Yeah, I assumed they had to be, because it was going to be pretty fucking flagrant if they weren't.
Yeah.
I played a couple of other things I can very quickly say. I went back and replayed a bit of Nubby's Number Factory, because I haven't played that in a while since it came out. Short version, they've added a lot more items to that game, and I think that helps a lot, because I got real in the weeds on that game for a couple of weeks, and then felt like it had become a solved game, because I worked out a handful of items and went, yeah, this build is very easy for me to get and will win me basically everything.
Right.
They've added a lot more new items, and that filling up of the item pool has made it a lot harder to guaranteed get the 100% the things that I was planning on previously that made it feel like a solved game. It's made it feel fresh again. I am once again having to learn new synergies and work out what's going to go well with what I have. There's new those permanent stats, the abilities that you have to get a key to get the items, the regular item pool, the food pool. There's a whole... It feels like they've more than doubled the amount of stuff in there, and I think that is enough for me to get a good chunk more fun out of it again. Don't know how long it'll last, but I'm having fun with it, and I'm glad I came back. The other one that I've played a little bit of is the new game from Strange Scaffold, Co-op Kaiju Horror Cooking. It's a first-person dungeon crawler that you can... It's designed to be played in co-op, where you go and fight monsters in a dungeon to get meat, or to get like various things for cooking, search the dungeon for condiments, spices, things to prepare the food properly, in order to go catapult some food at a giant kaiju that is approaching the island, to satisfy its hunger so it'll bugger off for a bit. You are a team of monks just trying to fling food at a kaiju that it will like enough that for another 100 years it'll leave the island alone.
Great premise.
That's
Love that.
a really deep concept. I like that.
Yeah. it's a little bit. It was initially a little bit clunky to work out how to play. The main thing that I think is not necessarily tutorialized great and took me a second to click is you have limited numbers of inventory slots, and it is designed. The tutorial doesn't. There's a single player tutorial that doesn't really hammer home to you. You're struggling to hold all the things you need to because when you're doing this in co-op, someone else will be holding the other bits. Like, during the tutorial, I had, all my pockets were full, I had chicken, I was supposed to be putting salt and butter on it. I had to, like, throw it onto a table, then pick up the salt, put the salt on the chicken, throw the salt somewhere, get the butter, put it on the chicken, throw the butter, because I just didn't have enough pockets for things, where it's like, oh, I'd be holding the chicken, someone else the salt, someone else the butter. That would sort the inventory problem. But yeah, it is a silly little lightweight co-op dungeon crawler about trying to prepare meat for giant monsters and then get out before the giant monster gets too fed up and destroys the island. It's another silly little fun thing. There's really not any game there to be played unless you're playing it in co-op, so it's not worth picking up unless you have someone to play it with. But yeah, it's kind of fun, and I want to find time to play some more of it. I need to make time to play it with other people. Is that everything all of us have played this week?
I think so, yeah.
Sure.
I've got to skedaddle. I was getting calls while this house move is just never ending. Yeah, I've got to run because I'm getting just calls.
No worries. It's been lovely to have you.
It's been really good to be on. Hopefully things back to proper normal next week. Listeners, if you can get to Manchester on Sunday, look up Pinfall Pro Wrestling. If I'm still alive by then, if I haven't just had an aneurysm, I'll be wrestling at Pinfall Pro. But yeah, I'm going to have to run. Sorry about this, but thank you so much.
Bye.
See ya. Bye. For a little bit of news,
let's do some news
before we finish. So here's a fun one. We'll get this one out of the way quick. Actor Matt Ryan, who plays the main character Edward Kenway in Assassin's Creed Black Flag, got in a bit of trouble recently. He may have said at a convention a little while ago on stage during a Q&A, he might have heavily implied that Ubisoft was planning to announce an Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake to release this year. Now, that has not been announced by Ubisoft, and it sure seems like a thing that he probably wouldn't have had permission to say out loud, but also a thing that he would probably know about. Speaking at another convention on camera, and he knows he's on camera when he says this, he's asked about the prior quote where he implied Assassin's Creed Black Flag is coming. I will read to you what he said at this new convention. Sorry, let me pull that. Where is it? Here's what he said. Well, the thing is, when that happened, someone was doing this, gestures towards the person filming him, and I was being very free and open, but I didn't know they were actually recording me on their phone. And then the company threatened to sue me, so now I say nothing. So yeah, he thought he could just announce that Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake was coming on stage in front of a room full of people in a Q&A, and that no one would film it. And he seems, if anything, pissed off that someone would film it and post it, more so than that he said a thing he was not legally allowed to say. He really does seem to put the blame on, how was I supposed to know one of you fuckers would film me saying it? I just wanted to be free and open.
Is this his first time engaging with the public as a performer?
You wouldn't have thought so.
That is remarkable. Like, wow.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Couple of Xbox updates this week. You know how we were talking about all those layoffs the other week?
Right, yeah.
Over at Microsoft,
Thousands and thousands of them.
Yeah, well, funny story. Xbox Game Pass has hit $5 billion in annual revenue, and Microsoft profits are up.
Well, I can see how the profits would be up. because you've cut
Yeah.
9,000 jobs from your
Yeah.
bottom line.
Yeah. So, well, here's the thing. We've got specifics on those. They've seen an 18% increase in revenue and a 23% increase in operating income. And that 23% increase in operating income, I think, is we laid off everyone.
Yeah.
We have 23% more money in our pockets because we didn't pay it to staff.
So you were doing more business revenue-wise than ever, and then on top of that, you decided to cut a shit ton of jobs.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. This is a healthy, sustainable business that you're building, and I wish you nothing but success. How's that investment in data centers going?
Well, funnily enough, they used the opportunity to once again gloat about how amazing AI is going to be for their business.
Oh, I bet.
Right. On the more positive side of stuff that is Microsoft adjacent, Raven Software have finally ratified their union contract with Microsoft after 3 years.
Yay!
Yeah, this is the Activision Blizzard subsidiary that does a bunch of work on the Call of Duty series. We first started talking about them trying to unionize back in January of 2022, after they had a strike protesting the firing of 12 members of the QA team. It was about 4 months later that they voted to unionize, despite what they called Activision Blizzard's anti-unionization maneuvers, such as emailing staff telling them to vote no on the union. They unanimously voted for the union, it's finally gone through, and they're having negotiations with Microsoft now, so congratulations to them.
Yep.
I hope that they are able to get good things out of this situation.
It's a good thing, and it's another success that can be something others can point to as showing that this is possible for their own workplaces, and they can unionize, and they can get a good, fair contract. So good for them. Glad to hear it.
Indeed. Other things we've got updates on that whole Mastercard not letting game sites sell sexy games situation. Mastercard have chimed in to insist that they're not the villains here.
Not us,
and
bro.
they have not. Nah, we've not required any restrictions of games on Steam or itch. Which Valve says, no, you're fucking lying though. Yeah, so let's find the specifics here. Mastercard denies that they've been putting pressures on itch and Valve specifically. They posted a statement to their website, insisting they had not evaluated any game or required restrictions of any activity on game creator sites and platforms, contrary to media reports and allegations. Our payment network follows standards based on the rule of law. Put simply, we allow all lawful purchases on our network. At the same time, we require merchants to have appropriate controls to ensure Mastercard cards cannot be used for unlawful purchases, including illegal adult content. To which Valve says that's bullshit. Their response to Kotaku says, Mastercard did not communicate with Valve directly, despite our requests to do so. Mastercard communicated with payment processors, and they're requiring banks. Payment processors communicated with Valve, and basically said Steam's policy, Steam has policies to prevent distributing games that are illegal. Payment processors rejected this and specifically cited MasterCard's Rule 5.12.7 and risk to the MasterCard brand. This rule is meant to be for stopping illegal interactions, but it also says, quote, in the sole discretion of the corporation, may damage the goodwill of the corporation or reflect negatively on the marks. Basically, they're not saying that, like, we ban you from selling illegal stuff, but, like, at our discretion, we might say that you're not allowed to sell stuff that we wouldn't want our brand associated with.
Yeah, that we think might make us look bad.
Yeah, so MasterCard saying, we allow all lawful purchases is not really true. They allow all lawful purchases except for the ones they think might make their brand look icky.
Right. Yeah. At their sole discretion. They solely get to decide what might let their brand look. That sounds... Hang on. Wow. So from their position of immense power in the financial space, it almost sounds then like financial services companies are able to inflict their own moral sense on society by limiting...
Yeah, it almost sounds like the very thing people are complaining about, that card companies shouldn't be making moral judgments on legal but perhaps distasteful purchases, and that shouldn't be their role to gatekeep.
And in the sole
is accurate.
In the sole discretion of the corporation, I mean, that just sort of like spells it out in black and white. That it's them doing it. They have made the decision. It's their discretion.
Yeah. Or maybe not specifically them, but maybe a payment processor working with the Mastercard brand that was an intermediary or whatever, but like, the point remains the same. You have made it okay that people, part of your payment pipeline, can make moral judgments and go, I think I feel a bit weird with letting you buy that. Despite it being legal, you can't buy that now. So yeah, we had a couple of responses to this week. GOG is offering 13 not safe for work games completely for free, while it's trying to...
Oh, that's already over.
Oh, is that already over?
It's already over, yeah. 48 hours they made them available, and yeah, they're
48
down
hours. Yeah.
I missed Postal too, I'm bummed.
Oh, damn. Yes, so apparently 1 million people took advantage of that. They're trying to be at the forefront of this anti-censorship stuff. They launched a website called freedomtobuy.games.
It's good press for them, ultimately, because I don't think that they're in a position to be threatened by this. They also, like the games that they gave away for free for 48 hours, looking at the list of them, it's like, there wasn't a whole lot of threat of a lot of transactions that these games going to happen anyway.
Yeah,
so...
they're not the kind of storefront that is hosting weird niche queer sex games.
Yeah. So this was a canny move for GOG, but I don't know.
It was a nice little bit of promo for them. The other one was Itch has begun re-indexing some adult not safe for work content, specifically the stuff that is not paid. Anyone who has put their not safe for work content on Itch for free is starting to show back up in search results, which, yeah, this is predictable. This is the first way that you get around the payment processor issue. They have reiterated they are seeking alternate payment processors, and I'm gonna say this. The fact that they are willing to treat not safe for work content that is free versus paid separately from each other does lead me more into believing what we were talking about the other week, which was we might end up in a world where not safe for work paid content on Itch might go through a different payment processor that has slightly higher fees, but this is the cost you pay for being a not safe for work game on the platform. It feels like that's the direction they might be angling.
Yeah, seems right. I was thinking about this, and it's so bonkers to me that if the estate of Vladimir Nabokov wanted to publish an ebook of Lolita to itch.io, it would be taken down and their account suspended under the rules as they currently sit. That's fucking insane.
Yeah, and also to specify on that Itch thing, it's not enough to have your game be up there for free, but you can, people can optionally donate to it if they decide to. You have to actively click the no payments option when people are not allowed to pay you.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to go out of your way to go, not only is it free, you can't decide that you liked it and give me money.
And I wonder, that makes me wonder about any potential workarounds that are happening where people are in the description of that content being like, hey, you can pay what you want for any of my other stuff if you want me to get paid, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Like, so they have provided potential avenues for people to get at least a percentage of their lost revenue back from these sorts of things if they want to set them free.
Yeah,
and,
I think we're going to see a lot of, here is the safe for work version of my release, and you can go to my website to download a free patch that will make it not safe for work again. I feel like there's going to be a lot of trying to, the version you buy here is safe for work, it's up to you what you add onto it as an add-on, not from here.
Here's a fantastic modding resource, i.e. my website. Yeah.
Yeah,
And actually, that's another thing that, weirdly, in a strange way, could work towards the advantage of these companies. Because not only are you getting the payment processing, you're getting the sale and all of that, you are then driving the traffic to your website where you can get people to sign up for a mailing list or whatever. And there are so many of the funnels that have developed on the internet that prevent people from leaving one site to go to another, that we have created a scenario where for specific audience, it's actually valuable to go to these other places to get things. It's decentralizing the internet in a probably helpful way while still benefiting the producers of the content in a knock-on way. Like, I'm not saying this is better, but I am saying there's an opportunity here that people can take advantage of that long-term could play out for you very, very well.
Yeah. We got two other very quick ones I'm going to throw on the news pile. You know, we mentioned Roblox up at the top of the show. Here's a Roblox adjacent story. Are you aware of the indie game Peak?
I've heard the name, yeah.
Yeah, it's from Aggro Crab, which are the people that did Another Crab's Treasure, that Crab Souls-like. This is a co-op game where you're a bunch of colourful little people trying to climb a hill together. It's quite a cute little game. I'm a fan of it. I would recommend it. There is a knockoff of it on Roblox called Cliff. And in response to that being released, this microtransaction-riddled, terrible, poor-quality knockoff, the team behind Peak have said that they would rather the community pirate their game than play the version on Roblox.
Well, if I could just lodge my opinion right here for a moment. This perspective on how to deal with the Roblox problem of somebody taking your game and trying to recreate it in a cheap knockoff shitty way is, I dare say, peak.
I think that is the perfect word for it, honestly. You know what's not peak? Japan has a big old speedrunning event called RTA. It is their equivalent of, like, Games Done Quick. And the one that's about to happen isn't going to have any Nintendo games in it. Because Nintendo reached out to RTA and said, hey, you became like a official company, and now that you're officially like a company,
we can tell you to cease and
as a legal entity, we would like you to ask permission in advance to feature our games, and we will consider use of them unauthorized use unless you get our permission. You will need to apply for permission on a game-by-game basis for future events. But also, we've told you this so close to the speedrunning event that there's not really time for you to go through the approval process for this year. You'll just have to do it for next year's event.
Nintendo
was allergic to advertising.
Well, everything, they don't need it. I mean, let's be honest.
No.
They are the noun, but
yeah, but like,
no, I know.
It doesn't hurt them to get free advertising, and they just want to stamp on any goodwill.
I mean, I was even on their side a little bit, like for the first half of what you were talking about. It's like, yeah, okay, this is a legal entity now. They are, in theory, profiting off of the relationship. It's not unreasonable to expect to get permission. You know, I mean, for fuck's sake, this is a company that is known for shutting down completely innocuous, unrelated, tiny things that just happen to use some of their iconography. So, like, yeah, this is, I kind of understand almost where they're coming from for the first half of that. And then, but then you start getting to for each individual game, and it's like, all right, hold on. Can't we just send a list, like, a few months out?
Have a degree of understanding, because, like, I get it, and they're well within their rights to do so, but also, if we're talking about, like, Mario 64 or Ocarina of Time, the speedrunning community and people watching speedruns is like 99% of the fucking market for those games that exist now. Like, most people who are playing those games right now are doing it because of speedruns. Just let that community be. Just let them be.
It doesn't seem... Yeah, it doesn't... I don't understand. I don't understand their perspective. You know, it does come back to this is free marketing. Microsoft, you know, or Activision, as the case may be, however they want to slice that pie now, they'd never do this. You know, Riot would never do this. Tencent would never do this. I don't understand why Nintendo is this way. They're just control freaks. And I as a control freak myself, there's a part of me that wants to be understanding of that, but the rest of me is just like, get a grip. Like, this is just too much. Yeah. Agreed.
Well, I think that's everything for the news this week.
Well, we did it. And
we did.
And we keep doing the things. More specifically, you keep doing the things. I'm not doing much, but you are doing a lot, Laura. And I want to know where people can find all the things that you're doing.
Oh, well, see, I'm going to pitch one thing in particular this week that I really hope people check out, because, hey, I don't know if you're aware, I've been having some problems with the book publisher Unbound/Boundless for a little while.
You don't say.
Officially, they have finally officially gone into liquidation and neither company exists anymore, which means that all of the rights to all of my books have returned to me, as, like, sole owner of my own books. And that means I'm now finding ways to put these books back out into the world for people in ways where I will directly receive money when people buy books, which has not been the case for these books in about 8 or 9 months now. So I'm going to pitch to you all, hey, I wrote a book a few years back called Things I Learned from Mario's Butt. It is a silly yet serious book of video game character butt reviews that's like, hey, it's more than just here's a silly review of a butt. Going into depth on the narrative implications of butts, interviewing game developers like Mike Bithell about how the little platformer about rectangles, Thomas Was Alone, is secretly a game entirely about butts, or the guy who worked on Conan Exiles, and his entire job was being the monster butthole designer, and how that sort of job exists, and how you get that job. It also contains guest segments from a bunch of wonderful people, including our own Stephanie Sterling, Max Scoville, Brian Altano, Tim Geddes, Greg Miller, Alana Pierce.
There's a McElroy in there somewhere.
There's a McElroy. There's a Justin McElroy, Stuart Ashens, if you know him from his reviewing Tout on the Sofas. Shit ton of people I'm probably forgetting to mention right now. And you know what's even better? There is an audiobook version of Things I Learned from Mario's Butt, where all of those wonderful people I just named read their sections in the audiobook. My audiobook's got a McElroy in it. It's got Steph in it. It's got, who else off the top of my head? It's got Brental Floss. It's got Slow Beef. It's got a shit ton of people reading reviews they wrote about butts. And you can get this right now. You can get a bundle of the PDF ebook, the audiobook, and 57 high-quality art pieces, full-resolution, big high-quality art pieces of video game character butts, all for one low price, for £15. They are all available on laurakbuzzstore.com. You can get a bundle. It's got the audiobook, the PDF, ebook, and all of those high-quality bits of art that are big enough that if you wanted to print one off and put it in your wall, this is a high-quality enough version of it you could do that. Do you want a high quality piece of art of naked Raiden in Metal Gear Solid 2? Do you want a high-quality art print of Quelaag from Dark Souls? Or 2B? Do you want 2B's arse on your wall? You can get the art print to make that happen. LauraKBuzzStore.com. Please go check it out. These books have been devastated in the last 9 months, and I really want to get them back out in the world, so I hope people check them out.
And if you are, say, a small publisher, you know, a boutique publisher, maybe who's operating in the games space. I can think of a few off the top of my head that would be a great fit for republishing a new version of Laura's book. You should get in touch with Laura. It's a really, really good book. I have it on my shelf. I love it.
I love it so much. On that note, hey, also, I have a novel called Who Hunts the Whale. It is a novel about video game industry bullshit. That is currently not available, but I'm looking to put together an audiobook version of that. I know there has been a lot of people requesting an audiobook version ever since we did a sample chapter reading at the end of a Podquisition a few years ago. That is going to happen. It's going to be a little way down the line, so keep an eye open for the ebook and audiobook bundle for Who Hunts the Whale. That will also be happening. Gender Euphoria, I have a publisher. We're going to get that back on the shelves.
Good.
The audiobook version is available, and hopefully within the next week I'll be able to confirm that, yes, the money from the audiobook will come to me. So the audiobook is the best way to get Gender Euphoria right now. There will be a way to get it physically again in the upcoming future. But yeah, what about you, Conrad? Where are you out on the internet?
Oh, you can find me at Conrad Zimmerman on Blue Sky, and you can hang out with me on Twitch at twitch.tv/thatconradzimmerman. I'm on Sundays, Mondays, and Tuesdays. Play a lot of Spelunky, too. You could buy anti-capitalist propaganda and Jimquisition merchandise over at mercenarycreative.com. Got a few new things going up this week, hopefully, so go check that out. And everything I do online gets supported through Patreon at patreon.com/fistshark. And do you know who else has a Patreon?
Who?
Stephanie Sterling.
Oh, should have known.
Yeah, it's patreon.com/Jimquisition. That supports the reviews on the Jimquisition.com, this podcast, and the show, which will be coming back once Steph's hiatus is over. You can also follow them on Blue Sky, Commander Sterling, or on Twitch, Jim Sterling on there. Go buy Date Everything and Quantum Witch, two games that Steph wrote for recently. They are both quite good, quite fun, quite funny. And then, as she mentioned as she was leaving, August 10th, Manchester, Pinfall Wrestling. Go check that out, pinfallwrestling.com, if you can make it to Manchester this weekend. And I think that's us. Is it? Is that us? Did we do it?
I think so, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening, and have a lovely week, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.